In November 2022, the Viking Polaris, a modern cruise ship with every navigational instrument known to man, was crossing the passage when a single wave hit. 16 meters, 52 feet tall. It shattered 7 cabins, injured 8 people and killed a 62-year-old woman before the crew could react. This wasn't a freak accident. This was a Tuesday in the Drake Passage, the most dangerous stretch of water on Earth. A place that has swallowed at least 800 ships and over 10,000 sailors. And the terrifying part? We keep going back. The Drake Passage is nestled between the southern tip of South America and Antarctica. It stretches 600 miles, about 1,000 kilometers, at its narrowest point, connecting the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. It tore open somewhere between 17 and 49 million years ago when tectonic plates ripped the 2 continents apart. But we're not here for the geology. We're here because this stretch of water has a habit of ending things, expeditions, careers, lives, and somehow that's never been enough to stop people from sailing straight into it. The Drake sits at the convergence of 3 of the most violent oceanic forces on the planet. The Antarctic Circumpolar Current, the ACC, is the strongest ocean current in the world. It flows clockwise around Antarctica with 0 landmass anywhere on Earth to slow it down. The result is a current moving 150 million cubic meters of water per second, more than every river on Earth combined, all compressing into a bottleneck with nowhere to go but up. When that volume of moving water gets squeezed through the Drake's narrow gap, waves have been recorded reaching 65 feet, nearly 20 meters. Wind gusts exceed 70 miles per hour, over 110 kilometers per hour. The seafloor drops deeper than 11,000 feet, or 3,300 meters. The Drake Shake is what sailors call it. There is simply nothing between you and Antarctica to slow any of it down, and no forecast system on Earth can tell you exactly when it arrives. What makes the Drake different from other dangerous ocean stretches is the complete absence of surrounding land. Wind travels unimpeded for thousands of miles before slamming into anything in its path. Cold Antarctic water collides with warmer subpolar water, creating powerful circular eddies stacked on top of the waves. Then add storms, fog, and near-freezing temperatures. Experienced captains describe crossing it less as navigation and more as negotiation with something that has no interest in negotiating and no memory of the ships it has already taken. The passage was first documented in 1525 by Spanish navigator Francisco de Hoces. Spanish maps still label it Mar de Hoces. The English name comes from Sir Francis Drake, who, in a neat irony, never actually sailed through it. In 1578, one of his ships was blown south of the Strait of Magellan, proving open water existed, enough to earn him the naming rights forever. The first intentional crossing came from Dutch navigator Willem Schouten in 1616, and the race to use it as a trade route began straight away. The disasters followed almost immediately. In 1741, HMS Wager joined a British naval squadron rounding Cape Horn and was separated from the fleet in ferocious weather, wrecking on rocks off the Chilean coast. What followed wasn't just a shipwreck, it became mutiny, starvation, and violence among the survivors as they fought over the wreck's remaining supplies. Of the 120 men who left England, exactly 10 returned home. The Drake claimed the rest, and it kept no record of where it put them. In 1819, the Spanish warship San Telmo entered the Drake with 644 men aboard, headed for Peru to suppress an independence movement. It was last seen fighting severe weather. No wreckage was ever found. No survivors, no explanation. 644 men vanished, and the Drake offered nothing back. No bodies, no debris, no trace. Had any of those men reached Antarctica's shore alive, they would have been the first humans in history to set foot on the continent. And then there are the icebergs. In May 2021, a chunk of ice broke off Antarctica's Ron ice shelf, larger than Mallorca. Within weeks it fractured, and the largest piece measured twice the size of London. That fragment drifted 2,000 kilometers, or 1,200 miles, into the Drake Passage. Ships don't choose which icebergs enter their path, and radar only tells you so much when the ice goes 200 meters deep. A century earlier, the passage made a different kind of history. In December 1914, Ernest Shackleton and 27 men sailed toward Antarctica on an attempt to cross the continent on foot for the first time. They never got close. By January 1915, the Endurance was locked in pack ice in the Weddell Sea. For months, the crew lived aboard a ship the ice was slowly crushing, until November the 21st, 1915, when Endurance sank beneath the surface and left them stranded with no rescue coming and no contact with the outside world. Shackleton's next decision should not have worked. He took the ship's small wooden lifeboat, the James Caird, and with 5 men set out across 800 miles, nearly 1,300 kilometers of open Drake Passage to reach South Georgia Island in winter. The crossing took 16 days. Waves broke continuously over the open deck, freezing the rigging solid. Navigator Frank Worsley took star sightings through brief cloud breaks with hands too frozen to hold his instruments, and somehow they hit the island. On August 30th, 1916, more than 500 days after leaving England, Shackleton brought every single one of his 27 men home alive. No deaths. Across one of the most lethal stretches of water in history, in an open wooden boat, in Antarctic winter, he lost nobody. It remains one of the most extraordinary survival records ever documented. Achieved in a place specifically engineered by geography and physics to make survival functionally impossible, by crew eating penguin meat and melted ice for months before they even reached the water. In March 2022, the same year the Viking Polaris wave killed a passenger, divers finally located the wreck of the Endurance on the Weddell Sea floor, more than 3,000 meters, nearly 10,000 feet down. Masts intact, the ship's name still legible on the stern, the wood barely degraded. More than a century underwater, preserved almost perfectly by the cold and the darkness. The same region that destroyed it had kept what remained as though filing the evidence away, waiting for someone to come looking. There is a phenomenon sailors call the Drake Lake. On rare occasions, conditions align and the passage becomes almost calm, manageable swells, light wind, a crossing so smooth it barely seems like the same place. It happens perhaps once every few crossings, entirely unpredictably. No forecast can reliably call it, no captain can schedule for it. The Drake Lake exists to make you trust the Drake Passage. The Drake Shake is what it delivers. The monument at Cape Horn, marking 10,000 dead, has always known the difference. Every technology developed across 5 centuries of maritime history, GPS, satellite forecasting, reinforced hulls, emergency communications, engine redundancy, has reduced the Drake's death toll without eliminating it. In 2022, a 16-meter wave hit a vessel with all of that on board and killed someone anyway. The Drake Passage doesn't negotiate with the equipment you bring or the century you were born in. It existed for 40 million years before the first human tried to cross it. It hasn't changed its approach since.